Hi everyone. In today's lesson we're going to talk about how to graph parabolas. Okay, now here's the textbook definition of a parabola. You don't really have to read it too much. I'm going to just explain it myself. So here are some unique characteristics of a parabola. It has a focus, like everything else, but it is now p units. So we're going to say the distance from the focus to the vertex is p. So this focus is p units from the vertex, and the focus is always inside the opening of the parabola. That's where it exists. So in this picture here, here's my focus, here's my vertex, it's p units from the vertex to the focus. Okay, now p is the distance, like we said, from the vertex to the focus, so we can go ahead and write that in there. It's also the distance from the vertex to the directrix, from here to here. So this is the p-value as well. So from here to here is p. So from the vertex to the directrix. This means if the focus is p from the vertex and the vertex is p from the directrix, then that means the vertex is always in the middle or equidistant between the focus and the directrix. And last but not least, parabolas always open away from the directrix. Okay? Always open away from the directrix. So we have two scenarios. We could either have a parabola with a horizontal directrix, which are these two, or we could have a parabola with a vertical directrix, which are these two. Okay? Now, if I had this example here with a vertical directrix, our p-value is still the same distance from the vertex to the directrix as it is from the vertex to the focus. And from here to here is p, and from here to here is p. And here are the formulas that we talk about when we are talking about parabolas. So we have x minus h squared equals plus or minus 4p y minus k, with h and k being my center. Now if the y comes first in the equation, y minus k squared equals plus or minus 4p x minus h, then the parabola opens left or right. So let's see if we can go ahead and graph these things. Okay, so the first thing that we want to look at is the vertex. The vertex is always x first, then y. So x is 4, y is negative 2. So we switch the signs, and the vertex is positive 4, positive 2. Okay, and since the x comes first in the equation, we know the parabola is going to open either up or down. So the reason why it opens up, or it's having a horizontal directrix, is because the p-value, or the 4 times p, is positive. See how it's negative here? So this one is actually going to open this way. Okay? So the p-value can be found by analyzing this part of the equation. So in the equation, this is 4p is equal to 8. So if we divide both sides by 4, we get that p is equal to 2. So now we can finish graphing this thing. So let's graph the vertex, which is 4, 2. And now this p-value says it's 2. And since the parabola is opening up, we know that 2 above is going to be the focus, and 2 below is going to be the directrix. And then we can label my focus as 4, 4. And my equation of the directrix is y equals 0. Okay, so now a little bit trickier part is how to graph this actual parabola. We can't just draw a sketch. So what we have to do is we always go 2 times p left and right of the focus. Okay, so here's the focus, and we're going to go double p to the left and the right. So if p is 2, double p is 4. So we're going to put a dot here. And then we're going to put a dot here. So see how I went 4 to the left of this, 4 to the right of this. I go double whatever p is. And then I connect it. Here's my equation of my parabola. Alright, let's see if we can try the second example. So we know that the vertex is positive 2, negative 1. We know that the direction is going down. Okay, so we've got positive 2, negative 1. Now if we want to find the p-value, we have to analyze what's here. So negative 8 is equal to 4p. Divide both sides by 4. And p is equal to negative 2. Now, we don't normally say that p is negative because p is always going to be a distance, right? P is a distance from the vertex to the focus or from the vertex to the directrix, right? This value here is p, so it's difficult to say that p is negative. But we can say that in this case here, that p is still 2, and the opening of the parabola takes care of the negative, okay? So let's graph what we have. Our vertex is at 2, negative 1. And we have a p-value of 2. And we know the picture of the parabola is opening downward. So that means we're going to go up 2 from the vertex and down 2 from the vertex. One of these points is the directrix and the other point is the focus. So if the parabola is opening this way, that has to be the focus. And this has to be the directrix. Okay, so the focus is 2, negative 3. And if I want to graph it, we're going to go left and right 2p from focus. So my p is 2, so 2 times p is 4. So we're going to go left and right 4. So here, and here, and that's my parabola. I'll explain where these values come from, but for now, just try to understand how to graph it. Alright, let's move on to the next page. Okay, so now let's look at examples 3 and 4. So in the first case, we want to look at the vertex. Now, vertex is always x, then y. So you see how the y comes first here and the x comes second? Be careful, you want to get the vertex with the x value first. So change the sign and it would be negative 1, positive 4. Now since the y comes first, we know that the parabola is going to open sideways. So this way or this way. Alright? Now which one is it? Since this is positive, it's an 8, it's a positive 8, it opens to the right. So this is what our picture looks like. If this 8 were negative, it would open to the left, okay? So let's graph what we know so far. We know negative 1, 4 is the vertex. And we don't know the p-value yet, but we can analyze this equation. So 4p is in the spot of 8, divide by 4, and p is equal to 2. So now we're going to go, since we know that the parabola is opening left or right, that means the directrix would be here, right? And the focus would be in that spot. So we're going to go left or right 2. So here and here. So this is my focus and this is my directrix now. Alright? So, if we want to label the point of the focus, it's 1, 4. And the equation of the directrix is the line x equals -3. And now if we want to graph this parabola, we're going to go up and down 2p. So up and down 2p from focus. So p is 2, so 2p is 4. So 4 here and 4 here, and connect, and that's my parabola. All right, let's look at the last example. So the vertex, 1 and -3, making sure you switch the signs, so -1 and 3. Now we know that since y comes first, the opening of the parabola is going to be this way or this way. And since it's negative, we know that it's going to look like this, or open to the left. And the directrix would be here, and the focus would be inside. So let's go ahead and graph it. We've got a vertex at -1, 3. And we need to find the p-value. So remember, we analyze the number in front of the parentheses. So we get 4p is equal to -4. Divided by 4. P equals -1. Remember that P is not really negative. This just tells me that the direction of the parabola is opening this way. So now if I have a p-value of 1 and my parabola opens to the left or right, I will find a focus and a directrix. So this is the directrix, which is the line x equals 0. And the focus is at -2, 3. So -2, 3. And we're going to go 2p up and down from focus. So 2p is 2 times 1 is 2. So here and here. And there is my parabola. Okay, take a minute, jot down any questions that you might have, and ask us tomorrow in class. Have a good night.